Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Wrestling Colosseum Podcast.
Hello everyone and welcome to the first ever episode of the Wrestling Colosseum. My name is Chris. The Wrestling Colosseum is a podcast dedicated to wrestling fans, past, present, and future.
There will be podcasts that have come before and podcasts that will come later, but there is only one Wrestling Colosseum.
We're here in the Colosseum. We're going to talk about, obviously, the biggest spectacle, the grandest daddy of them all, WrestleMania 33.
You mean NXT?
Ugh, those damn hipsters. Anyway, we're going to talk about WrestleMania weekend and also the Raw and SmackDown after. But we're not here in the Coliseum alone. We're here with two fine gentlemen. Please introduce yourselves.
How you doing? This is Mario from New York, all day, every day.
And this is the granddaddy of them all, MJ Dub from H-Town.
J-Dub from H-Town. J-Dub from H-Town,
How
sir.
come he has a name already?
I mean, I don't know. He's a special guest. I don't know. But yeah, so let's talk about WrestleMania 33, WrestleMania weekend, starting with the Hall of Fame was a Friday, which I thought was pretty good. Hall of Fame, they usually do pretty good. I don't like the fans of the Hall of Fame.
I mean, I love Jim Cornette. I loved
Corny?
I love Kurt Angle. Who couldn't love that? I was just a little disappointed that Beth Phoenix is in the Hall of Fame.
And this is why I hate you wrestling fans, because you guys think it's okay to say you suck to a Hall of Famer.
I mean, Victoria deserves to be in the Hall of Fame a lot more than Beth Phoenix. Come at me, bro.
I mean, if I'm going to interject here, I'm going to say this. Beth Phoenix had the best speech of all out of everybody that was at the Hall of Fame. But you got to think about it. Beth changed the game. Nobody has been that dominant since China.
What happened to Awesome Kong?
No, I mean in WWE.
Yeah, Awesome Kong. Remember, she was there for a little bit. But
before...
Oh, yeah, Karma, my bad.
After China, there was only one really was Jazz.
Mm-hmm.
Then they didn't really do much with Jazz. And then you had Beth Phoenix came along, changed the whole game.
Natalia.
I like Jacqueline.
If it wasn't for Beth Phoenix paving the way, you wouldn't even see Natalia.
I don't know. You know, Bret Hart, the Hart Dynasty, she was there.
They were running off of that.
But then, too, Beth Phoenix made a name for herself outside of all that.
By kissing, was it Santino or who?
Remember, was it Trish that she had the relationship with? Then
no, that was Mickie James.
No,
she was entered into that feud.
Yeah.
But then she got hurt by Victoria. Victoria broke her jaw and sent her back down to developmental. She came back as the Glamazon, and the rest is history.
Nice. And I like Kurt Angle's thing. His speech was his milk. He did the milk thing that like
I'm
the beer
just a
chug.
sexy Kurt.
Oh yeah,
I'm marked out on that.
That was freaking hilarious. I like Kurt Angle. I also liked him on Raw. That's not how he's supposed soft. That was pretty funny. I thought that was pretty.
Well,
okay.
Can I ask you guys a question?
Sure.
Why is Goofy treated like a human and Pluto treated like a dog?
Like a dog. Yeah,
I never noticed that until Enzo actually said it.
No, I've noticed that before.
I mean, I did too. I just never got an answer.
Yeah. But Mario, did you watch the Hall of Fame or what did you watch? Just WrestleMania?
I read the highlights.
Okay.
On Facebook, and as you said, I thought she had the best speech of the night.
Now, for those of you that don't know, because you wouldn't know, but Mario is a kind of a casual wrestling fan. He lost his way. We're trying to bring him back to it. He stopped in the Attitude Era,
I stopped in the Attitude Era.
Or was it the Ruthless Aggression Era?
The Toothless Aggression Era?
Ruthless Aggression. Goddamn John Cena. But we can't see him no more. Go ahead.
No, I think, yeah, the last one I can specifically remember, like, the match that was like, to me, was, it was Raw. I think Rock was coming back, and it was like my life. I got a life. I was like, oh my God, it's gonna rock. And then he made movies.
That had to be like the 2006 heel Rock return.
And
who did he feud with?
I don't remember.
Was he wearing a black leather suit or whatever?
Wait, did he have a helicopter in his entrance?
No. It was he came back. I just remember it was like the last. I remember specifically because I was supposed to go to bed. My mom was yelling at me, and it was like the last couple minutes. I was like, I need to know what happens. And I had it on captions in my room because I didn't have the sound on. And I remember he came out, and I was like, oh, and then he never came back.
That had to be like the 2006.
It was like 2002,
Yeah.
Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
So it was Hollywood Rock.
No, it wasn't Hollywood Rock yet.
No.
Remember when Brock basically took the belt from him in his rookie year?
Mm-hmm.
Then Rock left, and you didn't see him again for another
That's when it
2
was.
years.
Then he came back.
As Hollywood Rock?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Correct.
that was kind of towards the end of the Attitude Era.
Yeah.
But I mean, okay, so the Hall of Fame was the Friday, then NXT. I didn't watch NXT, but you fanboys over there, you hipsters of wrestling, what did you guys think?
I thought it was a good pay-per-view. It was way better than WrestleMania. Come at me, bro. I loved that Asuka seems more like a heel now that she's relying on dirty tactics. I love the revival match.
Well, they're on Raw now, right?
Say yeah.
See, I mean, the only thing I watched from NXT, if Nakamura's on, and I did catch the highlights of the Nakamura, glorious. No, I will give in.
The best theme song in wrestling right now.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, but also, I don't know. I've never said this before out loud, but I think I'll say it now here in the first ever episode of the Wrestling Colosseum. I kind of think that Bobby Roode's entrance is a steal from Ric Flair. I like to think so.
Or Christian.
I think Christian took it from Ric Flair.
No, I'm just saying. You remember that Christian,
and then the firewall or whatever that is, the sparkly wall. But I think Bobby Roode has the most copied entrance, the most best music entrance of all time right now. Yes, but nothing will ever top Cult of Personality. CM Punk.
Let it go.
We have a CM Punk shrine here at the Colosseum. But anyway, so what did you guys? NXT was okay.
It was better than
What would you give it?
WrestleMania.
What rating would you give it?
I would give it a 4 out of 5.
Okay, Mr. Better Than WrestleMania. What did you think of WrestleMania? Please go. What
Wait,
did
you're not
think
gonna
of
let
it?
our colleagues talk about NXT? You know, you want to hear my? I
I
know,
mean, Mr. It was better than WrestleMania. I want to hear your arguments, but go ahead, sirs.
I thought NXT was a great show. I agree, but I wouldn't give it a 4. I give it like a 3.5
Out of
because of Asuka retaining her title.
what? Okay. So you thought she was gonna turn heel, or she thought she was
I
gonna
mean,
give it
she's
up?
basically healed in my book since she's been there. I don't like Asuka.
Really?
I
always thought she
respect
was-
everything she does, but as the character,
And that is one thing I need to ask you, NXT fans. Who do you know is a heel and who do you know is a babyface? Because everybody the episodes that I've seen and the takeovers that I've seen, everyone gets cheered. Everyone gets cheered.
well, that's good wrestling right there. That's why. But if you're talking about, when they come out, sometimes they'll get booed. Like Sasha was supposed to be a heel with Bayley, but their match was so great that it transcended,
Yeah.
that what we, face and heel. That's when you know that you're in there with two great superstars.
well, the NXT crowd is basically like your Raw after WrestleMania crowd all the time.
Okay.
Every week, same. They're gonna cheer the heels. They're gonna boo some of the faces.
So
it's hipster.
they don't know what the fuck they're talking about, basically.
Smart marks.
Okay.
Is what I like to call them.
Mario, did you watch NXT, or do you know what NXT is?
I know what NXT is.
Yeah.
I guess I can be like what we were talking about earlier. Like NXT is more for like, the real hardcore wrestling fan.
Yeah.
I probably watched NXT, I think the first time it came out. Like when it first came out, I'm not gonna lie, I thought it was better than the regular shows.
Okay, so for the first time it came out, it was on Raw, and they were doing the whole, like,
No, they actually gave them like their own
that
show.
their own
they
show,
was
and it was like
doing.
it was a draft and stuff
okay.
like that, and they started picking up people.
because when NXT first came out, they were like, how many of you divas can like bounce a balloon on
Dude,
your
you
head?
taking it to...
That's like
That's
2010.
like the early stages.
That's what I'm saying.
When
Yeah,
the
that's like in
Nexus
the
and
beginning.
everything
Yeah,
came out.
yeah.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, you remember the first one with, Nexus,
Yeah.
then the Divas got one where CM Punk was like, man, I could watch this in my bathroom.
Every time I watch NXT, my pants are always off. But no, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
Is it because of Nia Jax when she was on NXT?
oh, she's beautiful.
No, that was when, what's her name? His wife was on there.
AJ. That's
AJ
what he was. Yeah.
and what's
AJ
her
was
name?
on
Her
there.
best friend?
Kelly.
Caitlyn.
Caitlyn. Oh, okay.
But Kelly was on there as a pro. Don't know why, but she was a pro.
She's coming back, isn't she? Kelly.
Oh, yeah, the spoilers much.
Oh no, yeah.
Well, it's been rumored. I mean,
there's no such thing as spoilers here at the Coliseum. But go ahead, sir.
But I think to me, I thought it was a better show.
Okay.
And like you said, everyone gets cheered. Why? Because it's good wrestling. So, but
Would you say it's independent wrestling, kind of?
That's a good question.
Because independent wrestling, they
that's-
do some shit.
no.
I mean, I guess the only difference with indies will do anything to get over.
Like they would have intergender matches there. Like they would have women versus
and
men.
they're
Oh, yeah.
putting their body more on the line. And the Miz had a good point. You guys have 5 great years for real,
Yeah.
but I've had 10 and I've never missed a day.
Okay, but who is he talking that to? Because Daniel Bryan's been in for like 20 years now.
Well, that's the thing. Like ROH fans and wrestlers, we expect them to do wild, crazy things sometimes. Like ladder wars. If you ever have the time, Kevin Owens, Kevin Steen versus what's his
El
name?
Generico.
El Generico. They pretty much threw their body to the wind.
Yeah.
And it kind of shortened their careers when you look at it from a long point of view.
Okay. Well, I guess I can see where that's coming from. But I mean, NXT was there. I rarely watch it, but when I do, it's okay. I mean, I get it. I like it. You know, they do some crazy stuff on there, but nothing compares to the grandest daddy of them all. The what was it used to call back in the 90s? I forgot.
Showcase of Immortals.
The Showcase of the Immortals. There we go. WrestleMania. That was my sad attempt at a McMahon. But yeah, I mean, I thought WrestleMania, when it started, it was pretty good. More better than I expected. And as time went on, or as the night went on, it got kind of dull. What do you think, Torrin?
You wanted to know my rating? I gave the show a 2 out of 5. Ooh. Like you said, the show did start out great. I loved the Andre the Giant. I loved how Braun got eliminated because it made Braun. Man, I wanted to do that. I didn't know if you would allow me to, but Braun looked really good. Big Show, I feel sad that this is his last WrestleMania apparently.
And he went out. I guess he went out giving back to the business. I'm not sure.
He helped Braun, but it's like, you expected him to go out like Taker did,
Yeah.
Or Braun versus Big Show 1-on-1.
Well, I mean, he was supposed to have that match with Shaq.
Yeah, I mean, I
supposedly.
I would have wanted to see that, but remember Mayweather versus Big Show, how that played out, and that became a debacle after a while.
Oh, did you ever see that Mayweather versus?
I saw the
Big
famous
Show
debacle between Mayweather and the Big Show.
What did you think of? You thought it was bullshit?
Man,
because you're a boxer fan and a UFC fan.
Yeah, I remember seeing it. I'm thinking Mayweather hurt his hand after he hit Big Show. This, that, and the third. First of all, you should have bring your tiny ass in that ring. That's the first thing. And then, of course, you got to bring your ass in there with a whole entourage. You know what I mean? If you're going to do it right. Get in there. You squat. You talking to a man 7 foot, 300-something pounds, bro.
At the time, it was 500 pounds.
500 pounds.
At the time.
But, everyone's fucking big and bad when you got, 30 people with you in the ring. You know what I mean? I would like to see it if he just talked that shit man to man, standing in the ring.
I remember watching
That's an intimidating man, bro. I don't care how big you are. If you stand in front of if the Big Show is over you, you're going to feel some shit. I don't care. I don't care if you think you're the baddest man in the world.
Baddest man on the planet, Mike Tyson. That's another show.
Well, can I ask him one question?
Sure.
What if it was Mark Hunt? Do you think he would have been intimidated?
Oh, I would love to see that Mark Hunt do. Mark Hunt don't give no fucks.
Apparently he did when Brock Lesnar got old to him.
Yeah, man. He gave no fucks. He was like, I want my money. You cheated. I want my money. Hey, I ain't gonna catch an ass whooping for free, dog. Yeah. I'm sorry. Last time I checked, I'm a fighter.
Well, I mean, wrestling, boxing, they've been kind of going together for the past 20 years now, kind of a little bit together.
There's a lot more.
Now UFC is joining the mix with Ronda Rousey.
When you said that, it made me think about Butterbean when he knocked. I forgot who he knocked out.
Bart Gunn.
Brawl Fall. Yeah, I was just watching that on the network the other day. Terrible idea, Vince.
Network, nice name drop. But I mean, I thought was at the beginning of the show. But go ahead. What did you think of that show? Why did you give it such a low rating?
Because this WrestleMania, we missed everything from the last one. Where were the grand entrances?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The heavyweight title match was just a debacle.
Yes.
It was just a match. It was just another match. Mm-hmm. There was nothing spectacular.
Heavyweight
to it.
title match.
Randy versus Bray. That match was just. I think they had to cut the match to have the Divas on because that match was short.
No, I think the Divas match was so short.
I mean,
because it happened.
Apparently, they said it was 10 minutes with Randy versus Bray. Shane had 20 minutes.
Yeah,
and Triple H, I think, had 30-something minutes.
I think that's why. Because when I saw the show, I was like, "Wait, why is Shane going on first?" Mm-hmm. And I think because they thought the booker, well, they're not bookers, the writers, and even McMahon himself, I thought they thought it was going to be kind of boring. Mm-hmm. But they actually stole the show. I think. I mean, it was really good. I thought it was good.
I mean, the match that stole the show was the Beast Incarnate killing the fake superhero. That match had everything bumps.
That show should have never. I mean, that match should have never happened.
It should have never happened.
No,
I agree with him.
No, that match had everything.
Shane McMahon, that was a genuine wrestling match, and they were throwing real slugs.
No, I mean, it's like you look at AJ Styles, and it's like I have to agree with what Corey Graves said. He's an artist. Mm-hmm. That match did nothing for AJ except for AJ.
And I don't care what you marks say. AJ did not carry Shane in that fucking match. I don't care.
Well, I guess you don't care about my opinion then. But
I'm just say this: I don't care about your opinion. No. I mean, basically, Shane carried that match.
No,
Shane.
I mean,
if it wasn't for Shane selling, AJ would have been all over the place.
Well, I don't know about that.
I mean, AJ is a great wrestler. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But you're only as great as
The
your
phenomenal
opponent.
one
I
is
mean,
a
yeah,
red.
and that's what Shawn Michaels said, that a great wrestler can make anyone look good.
You're only as great as your opponent.
Yeah, but with Shane, it's like Shane only made Shane look strong. AJ was just like, well, I'm going to do what I do. Except this match was like, you know.
Shane didn't need to make AJ look strong. AJ's
But I'm saying,
already-
like, it's like we went from John Cena versus AJ
yeah.
to AJ versus Cena. I mean, AJ versus Shane. It's like, well, we saw what you could do with John Cena. You put on a hell of a match. Some people said that was match of the year candidate. With this, it's like, you know, AJ, you kind of looked a little slower. Like, you know, you weren't really giving it your all. So that's my whole thing. If you look at previous matches, and with The Undertaker, it's believable because Undertaker is kind of, last year he was fat. Kind of.
And no, in 2014, WrestleMania 30, oh my God. He was really fat.
Not my Undertaker.
And you saw like the hairs on his arms.
Well, someone
and-
here doesn't believe that the streak ended with Brock Lesnar.
Never
I
happened.
know. I believe that
Never
should have
happened.
ended. That should have ended the streak right
I mean,
there
and
in
that's a
2014.
nice segue to me, one of the worst WrestleMania matches in history. I mean, you botched the tombstone twice. Twice. You can argue it twice.
Roman Reigns versus Undertaker.
You botch a triangle, a Hell's Gate, and then a triangle
Oh yeah, the
choke.
Hell's
It's-
Gate looks so bad.
I mean, I'm not going to go as far as saying it was the worst.
I said
WrestleMania.
one of the worst.
I wouldn't even go that far. It was like a mediocre match.
It
I'll say
was
that.
like watching a young 17-year-old boxer beat up the fuck out of a 40-year-old boxer.
I mean, I'll even Ric Flair versus Shawn Michaels. That made the pedestal just got higher with that one. And Ric Flair, Flair gave some energy. It was emotion. Taker, it was like we've seen every year.
and didn't he say, "I'm not gonna let WrestleMania define my career"? And that's exactly what he did.
No, remember he said, "I'm taking souls and digging holes in it." Wait a second, whose soul did you take? But I mean, other than that, I mean, just looking at Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels do it. Triple H emulated Shawn Michaels with the "I'll never give up. Let me grab for my weapon." Someone steps on it. It's like bring something new to the table, and they just couldn't do it with that. I mean, I love what the fans said, that Roman said, "I can't do this." Then he did the ridiculous super spare. But if the fans had to get me into it, it's like Roman didn't even sell that for real.
I hope that's not a thing. The super spear, the hit the ropes, hit the ropes, hit the ropes, hit the ropes, boom.
I mean, Undertaker looked like he was confused.
Yeah,
for a
Undertaker
minute.
was like, "What the fuck are you doing? Like, where you? I'm right here." And then he hits him. But I mean, and then the end where I just didn't. That shouldn't have been Undertaker's last match. Why would you give it to him once again? Like with Brock Lesnar, why would you give it to Brock Lesnar?
He's a bad man. That's why.
You know what? I didn't like Roman Reigns. You know what? I liked Roman Reigns when he came in. I think he should have won that Royal Rumble whenever it was Batista that won. I think he should have won it. That's when Roman Reigns was white hot because he just came off the Shield.
I mean, the only issue with that is because remember and I have to ask people this: did Bryan Danielson, my bad, Daniel Bryan, did he ruin wrestling for WWE? Because no matter who you put up with him during that point, the fans were just going to hate them regardless.
You know who ruined wrestling? And I know.
Please don't say CM Punk. Please don't say CM Punk.
No, he didn't ruin wrestling. What the fuck? He actually brought me back to watch wrestling.
When he left, did he ruin wrestling when he left?
Nah, you know who ruined wrestling? And I know this is gonna sound stupid. I know this is gonna sound very childish of me. Whenever McMahon took it globally, that is what ruined wrestling. Whenever McMahon,
What do you mean? What do you mean?
whenever he made it a traded company,
Okay,
that's
okay,
when he.
okay.
I think that's when it ruined wrestling because ever since then, you've had crap.
I mean, then too, you got to think about it. When you become a traded company, you got to listen to board of directors.
Exactly.
I mean, but
That's why I think that's because. Okay, so basically, WrestleMania. The reason why it was that was because we have to appeal to a global standpoint of it all. We have to appeal to the masses, not just the wrestling fans, who are the fans that are going to be there every year, 365 days a year. We have to bring in those outside people. So we have to get old people like Brock Lesnar comes back and Goldberg comes back, and then you have all these other people come back.
I didn't understand that. I didn't understand.
It's
that
to
whole
get
play.
people like you, the non-watcher, to come be like, "Oh shit, Goldberg from the WCW and I remember him. I'm gonna go watch it again, even though I don't know what the fuck that they're talking about. I'm gonna go watch it again."
And then you bring in terrible football players.
Exactly, and that's
Oh.
what.
Your joke is funny.
I mean,
I
that
I would
Mojo
argue-
Rawley shit. Yeah.
I would argue against that because I'm saying like it actually helped with the wrestling itself because wrestling evolves that we went from just entertainment purposes, Stone Cold and the beer, The Rock and the eyebrow, to people like AJ and Dolph.
Those people were there before then.
But I'm saying like they still got it's more wrestling oriented in some situations like the Revival. They're bringing back tag team wrestling. We have Shinsuke, different style. But what we have gotten at or what they have been is over because they don't. Some of them don't have the character like The Rock and Stone Cold or Triple H that they use their wrestling to get over now. Where back then it's like I have a cool catchphrase.
Yeah,
I'm cool now.
But then too, you got to think about it. Some of the new guys that are in the locker room, they're scared.
Mm-hmm.
You got to think about that. Back in Attitude Era, Ruthless Aggression Era, you had people who didn't care what they did.
Nope.
Didn't care about the backlash or anything like that. But you have guys now, I want to keep my job. I want to be here forever.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the problem with that.
I mean, that's why Stone Cold, and I heard this off a podcast before. This is not my original thinking, but Stone Cold got mad at Dean Ambrose
And buried him.
And Dean Ambrose was like, listen, I know what the fuck you're talking about. I 100% agree with you, but this is a publicly traded company. We just can't grab that brass ring anymore. And I think that's what killed wrestling.
My only argument is with Daniel Bryan. He was the guy that, unless you're a hardcore hipster, someone keeps saying hipster because but he really didn't get over with the management, but the fans got behind him because it was like he can wrestle. He's a guy that we all can relate to.
He was the underdog.
Yeah.
Everyone relates to the underdog.
He
But I'm saying,
took
like,
that.
The American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, baby.
Yeah, he took that role. He took that role and just made it his mantra.
But I'm saying like even then that's showing that you can just get the fans behind you, but it's not. It's like sometimes that like Dolph, prime example. Dolph has fans behind him, but Dolph kills Dolph. He runs his mouth too much during
that's
podcasts.
true.
It's like sometimes certain people backstage politics, and Dolph is a prime example.
I know this is off subject right now, but I wanna. If you guys have been watching wrestling WWE recently, I've noticed The Miz. I've noticed a few other wrestlers. I've noticed even management sometimes. Ever since CM Punk left, everyone has been doing their own little pipe bombs. What is up with that? Is that like a knock towards him? Because nobody would ever talk shit until he did it, and they were like, "Oh, okay, well he did it. He didn't really get in trouble. He actually got rewarded for it. So now let's do it." And now you have like Miz talking shit, doing his own little pipe bombs towards quote unquote pipe bombs to John Cena.
I mean, The Miz is always, when he first came back,
he's a mouth. He's
always done that. But like, I agree with you that Dolph sometimes gets the mic and he tries to do that.
Yeah.
It's just that for some reason, I guess the fans are tired of Dolph, and some individuals that it's like it's kind of too late for them unless they do something extreme or, you might not want to. You might not.
I
agree
want
with
them to do it, but they just can't.
If he super kicks Brock, fans would go wild about it. So you do kind of need those old school wrestlers to help get the new guys over.
But then there's that case where Brock is technically not a wrestler.
See, I don't believe in that because do you guys, what is how far wrestling do you go back?
I go back to the early 90s.
Okay, you?
92.
90s.
Okay, so 90. Okay, so yeah, you guys will get this question. Okay, so you have to think about Shawn Michaels didn't have anyone to get him over. Shawn Michaels just made Shawn Michaels. Same thing with Stone Cold. Stone Cold didn't have anyone to get him over. Stone Cold was just Stone Cold. But go ahead.
Stone Cold was Stone Cold, but like you said earlier, you're only good as your opponent.
Yeah.
Styles make fights, whether it's wrestling, whether it's boxing, whether it's UFC. Styles make fights, and no man is gonna be on his own and put a pedestal. It ain't gonna happen.
Like you never seen a Randy Savage or a Hulk Hogan come back later to beat The Rock.
I was about to say, even them, they had each other to feed off of though. Everyone had their villain. Everyone had that one button to push.
But why does it have to be old guys now?
Because old people don't give a shit. That's why you love them. That's why you love old people.
Think about it like this.
I would love to see an AJ Styles at his 150% versus a Sami Zayn at his 150. That would, oh my god!
But that goes back to what he's saying, that they're feeding off each other, and that's good wrestling. But I'm saying, like, you had Sting and Flair.
But here you have this young dude.
Thank you. That's what I was trying to.
But think about it, Sting and Flair. Flair helped Sting get over. and that helped Sting become who he was. I mean, before the Crow gimmick, but it helped pass the torch to him. You have people like Mick Foley and Edge. No one complained about that when Edge. I mean, he was established, but it helped him go to another level.
But Mick Foley was a wrestler.
Yeah, but I'm saying like Brock has, like you said, the style, and he has the air about him that he's a legitimate monster.
Right.
So what I'm saying is, like, look at Monday. Braun and Brock got into it. The crowd went crazy. This is like I went crazy.
Yes, I did. I went crazy.
But you need someone that brings that atmosphere with them. And let's just be honest, who besides Cena at this point really can do that?
Oh man, AJ Styles can be that.
I mean,
guy.
yeah, but I'm just saying, like,
you just have to build him.
But think how
that's for more
Cena.
for the hardcore fans, though. You know what I mean? Like, the great thing about the '90s and the Attitude Era was you didn't need hardcore fans. The minute you tuned in, you were just fucking hooked. It was just like hook, line, and sinker every time. It's not like that anymore. You just can't turn on Raw and be like, oh yeah. You're gonna be like, who's talking? I don't give a fuck. Next, go back.
DVR.
You know what I mean?
Then too is it's got predictable basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to me personally, I believe
I blame the internet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly where I was going. It's the internet's fault. You have people that come up to these shows early, snap pictures, see who's coming in backstage, where you should protect the business.
Right.
Where if you got somebody coming in,
That's how it used to be. That's how it used to be.
exactly.
That's how it
You
used
have
to be.
somebody debuting, keep them hidden.
Keep him hidden. They
Like
don't
when the
have that
Dudleys
no more.
came back, nobody knew it.
No one knew. And I love that. Like, they don't
But
have that. There's
everyone knew that the Hardys were going to be there.
Well, because they revealed it already,
Right.
though.
You know who I didn't know was coming back that night? Alberto Del Rio, when he beat John Cena for the United States champion. I was legitimately surprised. That was the only time in recent time that I was surprised because I had no idea. I'm like, oh,
I mean,
shit.
if I can sound like broken Matt Hart, I had a premonition that was going to happen that morning. I mean, for some reason, I was, again, name dropping the network. I was watching Del Rio versus Swagger, that whole feud at WrestleMania.
Swagger.
all American.
And for some
Swagger.
reason, I was just thinking like, man, do I miss Zeb Coulter, Swagger, and Del Rio.
Yeah.
So when that happened, I was like out of my mind. I didn't think Del Rio was going to ever come back to WWE.
I thought the same thing.
But was it worth it?
For the moment. For the moment.
For that one night
For
only.
that one night only, yeah. And you know what? To me, it comes down to I miss that. I miss the not knowing. I miss the not knowing. I miss the oh my God, there's a tables, ladders, and chair match between the Dudleys,
Hardys.
the Hardys, Edge and
Christian.
Christian, but you don't know where the fuck it's gonna go. Like, you couldn't pin it. No one in a million years could pin that, you know, they were gonna win that night. You just never knew. You tuned in because you didn't know. Now you tune in because you already know and you want to see if it's true.
I mean, and with him, he proves a good example because you haven't seen it in a long time, but even you're saying it's predictable, right? So at WrestleMania, did you call matches?
Yeah, like, even from, I'm like, okay, this reminds me of this. Now I'm like, okay, this is probably going to fly that way. I knew the Hardys were going to come back. I didn't know anything about the Hardys, but the way it was going, I was like, and they showed up. Okay, I'm not surprised. So I was like, okay, this makes sense. This is,
I personally didn't care about the Hardys showing up because they weren't broken.
I mean, I agree. I thought
I agree with that too. I would love to see the
I was
broken,
like,
but
nah, I don't want the Hardys. I want the broken Matt and Brother Nero and King Maxwell.
but then you have that whole lawsuit going on with
I honestly thought
Anthem
the Hardys won
Sports
that
now.
already.
it's still going on.
yeah.
Speaking, okay, so that's a great segue into our segment for this episode. The Hardys are the broken, whatever you want to call them. Also, the Undertaker he just retired.
Thank God.
He just retired. So today's episode or today's segment is going to be called "When and Where Did Kayfabe Die?" and should it or can it come back? What do you think?
Okay, let me answer this. I got this. When did the internet become big?
99, 2000.
And that's pretty much when kayfabe
It died.
As soon as the internet became really
I know
big,
the exact reason.
nah,
I know the
because-
exact time it died. Right after Chris Jericho debuted on Raw.
remember?
That's good.
That was the exact time when
Wow.
kayfabe died. Right then and there.
Wow. You just threw
I mean,
back
that's
fucking memory in
but
my
you
bag.
can't really
Wow.
say that because kayfabe was still alive with Undertaker.
I mean, Undertaker, Kevin Owens,
Right.
they're like always in
CM Punk.
character. I thought you were done with him.
I'm not.
Can we just
But
call
no,
him Phil
okay,
Brooks?
But okay, Phil Brooks was one of them. Undertaker was one of them. Kevin Owens is a new one, kind of doing it. Also, who else?
Miz?
Was The Miz, kind of.
Yeah.
Do you think the Miz?
I would say the Miz.
Yeah, the Miz has always been a mouth.
Except for when it's like a charity event, that's when he's more, lenient. But that's a special occasion.
What it is to me is the storylines aren't as good as they used to be.
That's true. I'll give you that.
Like we remember these are storylines that myself, you guys, other wrestling fans, casuals or hardcore, there's always moments that we will remember. Fuck it. The Attitude Era was a moment for me.
Is it one big ass moment?
One big ass moment.
Now name your 3 best moments from the Attitude Era.
Oh my God, man. That's like asking me to choose my favorite slice of pizza. Man, you gotta love the rivalries between The Rock and Stone Cold. You gotta love those. You gotta love the Mankind, the epic fucking battles. When tag teams were fucking epic. When tag teams took up most of the show and you didn't care.
See, that's why we don't need. That's why I think wrestling died whenever the whole thing was. But going back to kayfabe, it was just you should never break it. You had like you guys said the Miz. I don't know. Bray Wyatt should never break kayfabe. If you want me to believe,
it is very rare that he does break kayfabe.
He's broken it like fucking 5 or 6
times. I mean, in an interview, but as far as he's still in character when he's doing it.
Fucking
I'm talking
Braun
about like
Strowman,
like Twitter and stuff. Like
yeah,
Twitter is another reason that wrestlers are like kayfabe is broken and stuff. Like not wrestlers but fans.
Yeah,
like Braun, he posts,
like he's like this big, scary, mean dude in the ring, and then whenever you're on his Instagram or Twitter, he's like at Disney World. Hey, I'm at Disney World with fucking Mickey
or dressed
ears.
like Wonder Woman and stuff like that. So on that, I kind of agree. Like, remember what happened to I think her name was Selena with Straight Edge Society.
Serena, yeah,
that's why she got fired because she was caught drinking, and Vince was like, "Well, you're breaking character."
Yeah.
So he had to release.
I mean, I can understand that as far as your character, you're straight edge, you're not supposed to drink. But as far as Braun Strowman goes, yeah, I'm that guy who likes to have fun outside the ring.
But the way he does it, like Disney World,
and I understand that. But
you're supposed to be this monster that every
I
kid.
never been to Disney World.
It's kind of like Shaq, basically. When Shaq was playing basketball, yeah, I'm this big goofy guy outside. But when it's game time, I got my game face on, and I'm gonna be the baddest man
on this court,
wrestling ring, wherever.
But basketball's fake.
But I'm saying like with the Undertaker, to his original point, it's like that helped.
Another podcast there.
It helped Undertaker become that mysterious guy,
wizard or guy.
He's a dark mage,
wizard.
Well, that's why he became the American Badass to try to
change his image,
Correct. And become where he can talk to fans.
Now, did you like the American Badass gimmick? Or
I had a problem with it.
What was it?
At first, I was always that dead man ministry Undertaker.
Yeah.
So when he became this biker, I'm like, that's not my Undertaker.
Mm-hmm. You mean Triple H?
That was later, I think.
WrestleMania that just passed. That was Triple H.
That was before. That was pre Motorhead.
I mean, he came back, just for one last WrestleMania with his tricycle.
And going back to WrestleMania, I'm sorry we're jumping on subjects here, but what was the cops?
Yeah, what was that gimmick like?
Like, was he back in the blue?
I'm not understanding Triple H's interests anymore. Like after 30, that was his best.
Wait,
entrance.
remember I have a story, but this new entrance kind of ruined it. I've been building this story for 5 years, but it just
people like the Terminator entrance. I didn't
Somebody
like it.
photoshopped him in Mario Kart.
Ironically, who else does the Terminator entrance?
Kenny Omega. We know.
The guy from the Bullet Club?
He does the dun 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 dun.
He actually has a Terminator pose before he does his little flippy flips outside the ring.
I didn't know Terminator had a pose. The
when
thumbs up?
No, when he comes in.
When he comes from the future to the past, he always
yeah.
But I mean,
comes up.
I think so you guys said kayfabe died in the 90s when Jericho made his first debut.
So early 2000s.
Early 2000s. Okay, now I love kayfabe. I think it should come back. Everyone's like, no, kayfabe is dead. Will forever be dead. I guess maybe I don't know, but I think there's a way to salvage. I think kayfabe should evolve. They still do. I think in WWE and also other independent wrestlings, do they still the heels ride in one car and the baby faces ride in the other one? Do they still do that or no?
I know Impact for a while did that.
WWE does it to a certain extent.
Okay.
Impact used to have the heels come from one side and the face come from the other.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it should definitely be alive even more because you have social media. You have Instagram. You have Twitter. You can have Bray Wyatt talking about how he's fucking calling on Sister Abigail at like 3:30 in the morning, and just have him tweet that.
Well, remember Brother Nero and Bray were doing it for a while. Then Broken Matt made it more.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Well,
I'm gonna say this: Seth Rollins actually stuck to kayfabe when he turned on the Shield. He was not riding with Dean and Roman anymore. They new riding partner was out of everybody, Bo Dallas for some reason.
Well, leave. Even Bo Dallas sometimes sticks to kayfabe because he's like on his Twitter and on his Instagram, like, yeah,
as a jackass.
Yeah, believe.
Wait, can he say that? I thought we were PG.
No, we're never. No,
I ain't never gonna fuck.
we're TV 14, maybe. But no, yeah, like I think kayfabe should be alive. Now I'm just a minority here. If you guys want to, do you think kayfabe should be back, or
it
if
should be back? It's just difficult on how it's going to come back because I enjoy like with Braun. If Braun was that mysterious dude, you know, we see him in the woods chopping wood or something like that.
Or why doesn't Kevin Owens keeps it alive? I mean, he deleted his Instagram because some jerk off hacked his account.
Kevin Owens has a long history. Like, remember he got into it with Sabrina
the teenage witch.
Yeah, he got in with her and
Melissa Joan Hart.
I remember that. Damn, yeah, I remember that.
So you know he has a long list of. So what about Paige? Should she keep it kayfabe or?
Was Paige Kate? What do you mean?
You know what I mean.
Where are you going with this right now?
You know where
She
I'm
should
going.
just keep it in her phone. I'm gonna just say that. But I'm glad it did come
I
out.
didn't watch those videos because I'm a gentleman. I'm a gentleman. I didn't watch those videos, but I mean, even Dean Ambrose kind of goes for that rugged.
Please don't talk about Dean. Is just I have no faith in Dean in anything anymore.
Why do you say that?
Did you see that podcast? Did you see his title run? Did you see?
That's the thing. Like the podcast, Stone Cold was trying to ask him all these questions, and Dean was just like, "I can't fucking answer that. You know why I can't answer that? What the fuck?"
But I'm saying, like, you want the edgy stuff, and you know how Stone Cold brings the heat. You knew this.
Even McMahon shot him down whenever he did the podcast with McMahon. McMahon's like, "Listen, we're a fucking publicly traded company. We can't fucking do that anymore."
But I'm saying, like, that's the type of question Stone Cold asks, though.
On his podcast.
Yeah, so
but that
Dean
you have to
knew.
understand, that is not Stone Cold's podcast, kind of. It's in the WWE Network studios. It's out in Connecticut, or wherever they're at in the arena. You can't really do that anymore, and that's why I hate it. I hate that you have to, like, kind of, like you said, Mario, you have to, it'll never happen again. Those storylines will never happen again because you have, I mean, like today, we're recording this on a Thursday. Today, I thought it was a shot at her. Whenever they asked Linda McMahon, who's a senator or whatever, what is she? I don't know what
she's in Trump's cabinet or something like that.
Yeah, they asked her. I thought it was a shot at her because they were like, "How come it took John Cena so long to propose to Nikki Bella?" And Linda McMahon's like, "The fuck you doing asking me that question right now? Like, I'm not." I think that was a shot at her. I think that was like, hey, you used to do that wrestling thing, that stupid thing on TV, right? I thought it was a shot at her.
I mean, it probably was. I mean, she is.
Because they were laughing at her, and her face was so serious.
When you into politics, you know, everything is fair in love and war.
That's true.
You know, so
That's
you
very
gotta
true.
have a thick skin. So I don't want to hear, oh, well, what?
But no, they did it as a joke. They were like, how come it? And she's just like,
Hey,
I haven't even been in fucking WWE TV in like a long ass time.
welcome to the
but-
big leagues. Welcome to the big
I mean,
leagues.
our president beat Vince McMahon at WrestleMania, beat her into politics.
That's true.
I mean, Trump.
But
is
also
just,
Stone Cold.
hey, I saw the
Stunner.
photo. I don't need you. To,
I saw that photo. I'm like, oh yeah, that is true. I forgot about that.
Well, do you think Shane's kids are? Because like someone was saying that they're almost of age to where Stephanie and Shane joined the business. Do you think they'll be there pretty soon, or?
I think Shane's oldest son has
that too.
that quality. He has that look in his eye.
I see that.
Where
I
he
saw that.
wants to be in the business.
Yeah, I saw that. But what did you think, sir, about kayfabe? Should it come back? Will it come back? And
I think,
or do you think or do you like it today? The reality era.
I think it should come back, but it's gonna be hard for everybody because too many people have internet now. Too many people have camera phones. Too many people report to different sites, wrestling groups, things like that. So it's gonna be hard to even go back to kayfabe.
So you would say kind of it's our fault why kayfabe is dead.
The fans, basically, yes.
Mr. Mario, what do you think, sir?
This is how I feel. In the 90s, in the Attitude Era, they had a formula, and it was winning. You know, and the old saying goes, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I understand that you have to change with time. I understand you have to adjust, you know, to modern day. but you can't forget what made you what you were.
That's true. That's very true.
And I feel, my personal opinion is like the business is losing that. It's losing it's losing what it was. Now it's all about reality and more entertainment. When before it was about the wrestling, it was about the storylines. You know, it had really, really good. Oh man, I can't remember what I'm trying to say. Them storylines, and I just don't see that no more. Like,
well, can I ask you a question about that? Well, if you're talking about the 90s, you're forgetting one key element to that. Where's the competition? At least in America.
That is another valid point. Where are all the competitors? Where are all these amazing wrestlers?
I mean,
Where
some
are
would say
they?
New Japan Pro Wrestling.
But I'm saying, like, in America, though, like,
Yeah.
who ROH? I mean, I love ROH. Don't get me wrong.
They're not a competitor.
But they can't compete with the
You're
juggernaut.
right. They can't compete, but that's why you go back to the original brand extension.
Mm-hmm.
You had guys who actually bled Raw. They actually bled red. Then you have those guys, SmackDown guys, bled SmackDown. Now you have it, and this is why I don't like the brand extension now.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see SmackDown promoting Raw. You shouldn't see that. You shouldn't see Raw promoting SmackDown. Keep it to how it was when you first
It
did
was
it.
a rivalry.
SmackDown had their own stuff. Raw had their own stuff. Then you meet at the big top pay-per-views,
Exactly.
Survivor Series,
Yeah.
and all that.
Right.
Keep it separate. Make competition in between each other. That's what made it special, the brand extension. And then make the surprise factor where, oh, this guy's not supposed to be on Raw. This guy's not supposed to be on SmackDown. Then you can have that surprise element again.
So, okay, I mean, I don't know, man. I think it should still be alive. And you're right. You guys all had valid reasons. So the next question is, where do we go from here? I mean, do we keep it? We can't obviously do the stuff that we did back then. Or they can't do the stuff that they did. There's no fucking way unless McMahon steps down, when we all know he's never going to do that. Or unless, the kids do it. But the reality is they're trying to bring back good wrestling. And they're trying to do it by signing all these independent guys, like Kevin Owens was one, Kevin Steen was one, Daniel Bryan, and I like to think CM Punk was the first one ever. But I digress. And now the latest one is they're trying to sign Drew McIntyre. They did sign Drew McIntyre.
Yeah, he's on NXT.
And he was there.
The chosen one.
He was there, and they did 3-man band with him, and they're like, okay, same thing with Jinder Mahal. They were like, okay, get out of here. So they're Cody Rhodes just left. That's right, I said Cody Rhodes. But he left, and now he's making a name for himself, the Bullet Club and all this stuff. Maybe he can come back in 3 or 4 years, maybe. I'm not sure.
I mean, he'll be back sooner than later, but I mean, the thing is, it's hard now because fans want a certain thing.
Yeah.
And now that you have good wrestlers, it's like without that character still, you won't get over for real unless you're like a miracle like Daniel Bryan, the underdog.
Or can we just say this, as fans, we expect too much. When they give it to us, we're not happy. We're always going to find the negative in it. WWE went out and signed all these indie guys.
Those are those damn hipsters that you're talking about.
Yeah, that too. WWE has went out and signed all these indie guys, put titles on them, pushed them to the moon, but we're still not happy.
I'm not happy because they did push Kevin Owens, and Kevin Owens, I think, he's great on the mic. He's great heel. Please, I hope they don't ever make him a babyface. Maybe he might kill it. I'm not sure, but he's great at what he does. And then you have some jerk off like fucking Goldberg to come back, and even Kevin Owens was like, "Yeah, keep talking your shit, ass." Like he was talking shit to him at Fastlane just because to put some fucking asses in WrestleMania. So I never wanted to see Goldberg and fucking Goldberg and Brock Lesnar. I'd rather see fucking AJ Styles versus Kevin Owens, or AJ Styles versus Seth Rollins, or fucking now
AJ versus Shinsuke.
Somebody like that. I want to see that. That's why you signed those guys.
But I'm saying you're like shooting for the moon. Like I understand, I want to see those matches, but it's like you need a proper build up. Like I always think about this.
Yeah, they keep messing up by bringing these old guys.
But I'm
in.
saying like a perfect example: Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker. That was like a long build up for that WrestleMania. It was
like 20 years in the making.
No, but I'm saying like remember that one WrestleMania where it was just the two of them, and that was something special right there.
Yeah,
like it was like a one-on-one match.
Yeah,
and everyone got into it, but it was a long build up.
But then you have to think about it. At that time, they were there all the time.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like if
they were there with the guys that were wrestling.
AJ and Shinsuke, you like.
They come from Japan.
But I'm saying you hint at it and you build up like a year-long feud. WWE besides Cena versus The Rock, what long feud have we waited for?
Also, I don't mean to cut you off, but we also have to factor in they were pushing Seth Rollins and injured.
Yeah, I mean, again, The Miz though. Remember, The Miz called it though.
Yeah.
Your body, you do all that crazy stuff. Sooner or later, it's going to catch up to you.
But would Seth Rollins do crazy things? I mean, I don't think he's that. I
It
think
wasn't a crazy-
Neville's more crazy.
It wasn't a crazy move that actually did it. It was kind of like a freak accident, basically.
But I'm saying, like, the wear and tear on your body, and that plays a key point because,
I mean,
so
Kevin
quoting
Owens does.
Triple H now.
I'm saying the buckle bomb. How many people has Seth hurt?
Kevin Owens does the crazy stuff, and he's a big dude.
I mean, yeah, Kevin Owens does. I'll give you that. But like Wade Barrett, remember Wade Barrett? Every time, he's about to
Wade
get
Barrett,
pushed.
yeah.
Man, I'm hurt.
I've got some bad news.
I'm afraid I have some bad news
You're
for
fired, Barrett. I mean, that's my bad news to you, buddy. But yeah, I mean, Kevin Owens does. Even Jericho for the longest time.
you. Well,
did some
no,
crazy-
Jericho is a pro though. Jericho knows what to do.
You can't say that because Jericho at one time wasn't a pro.
I mean, yeah, but he teamed up with Lance Storm, Jim Cornette
Hell,
helped him.
the Hardys. They invented.
I don't flip. I use fist. Revival reference.
No.
Say yeah.
You need to watch the Revival. That's going to take you way.
Well,
back.
That is
okay, so
great tag team wrestling.
I know this is gonna make me sound stupid, but who would you compare them to back
The
then?
Brain Busters.
Okay, well,
I'm telling you, once you see them,
that's kind of putting it pretty hard right there.
I'm telling you.
That's the closest we got to old
shit.
school 80s, 90s tag team.
They-
Cut the ring off.
Jim Cornette loves them.
That's craziness. Okay, then well, they're on Raw now, maybe SmackDown. Who knows next week? But I mean, so where do we go from here? What do we do? I mean, I want to keep kayfabe alive. It's not possible. So now you have all these indie guys coming up that you knew or from the indies, and you've seen they've been to other companies and stuff like that. But still, WWE doesn't book them.
I mean, and I have to use this as an example because we watch NXT. The Ascension proves that just because you're good on a smaller field like the indies, it sometimes doesn't translate to the big stage. And like the American Alpha, they're great wrestlers, no doubt about it. They just don't have that factor
The
where
it factor.
Yeah, the characters. So Vince and them, like I think Angle said it. You guys need to create characters that are memorable.
Now, I would say this. The WWE put on a great tournament, the UK tournament. Only knew.
That wasn't worth shit.
I disagree.
Okay.
Only knew two names out of everybody there, and that was Pete Dunne and Mark Andrews, who went by Mandrews when he was in TNA. Those were the only two guys that I knew.
Hey, Pete Dunne, is he related to Regal or anybody?
No, he's not.
Because, I don't know, he looks like Regal.
All Europeans don't look alike.
No, but they look like, I don't know. Even the colors, the maroon color, they look like Regal.
Well, that's actually a tribute to Daniel Bryan.
Oh, okay. Right.
That was one of his favorite wrestlers and one of his great best friends,
Is it Pete Dunne?
Pete Dunne.
Pete Dunne, okay.
But I only knew two names out of that whole entire tournament. Those were the only two. Watching that tournament made me a fan of some of those guys that I've never seen before.
But I have a question for you though, and after what you just said, what did it really do overall for some of them? It's like you won a tournament like the Andre. What does it do for you?
Well, now they're
Shit
going to
for
get
Baron
their
Corbin.
weekly show that they announced on 205 Live.
Okay, remember 205? They did a tournament. 205 is, I'm sorry, it's garbage.
Okay, so that is a great question for next week's episode. Next week's episode, but in 2 weeks, we'll come back to the Colosseum and we will discuss, should WWE stop thinking about signing new people and just work with what they have instead of making like the women's people and then the UK people. But go ahead, Mario.
They gotta get back to what makes it what it is, and that is the script, the storyline,
Booking.
the dialogue. That's what makes it. That's what catches everybody.
That was the
One
magic.
final question. When you say the script, do you mean like booking, or do you think people should do like CM Punk did, do away with the script and just say what you got to say, and they build
That's
from
exactly what
I think it would be a little bit of both.
That's what the 90s was. It was a little bit of both. Yeah, you had guys that went off the handle, but there was I'm not saying this is
you
what
have
it has
Stone
to
Cold
be.
saying, I've never seen a fucking script in my life.
Don't let that. He had a script.
Hey.
Trust me.
It's not. I'm not saying like say this, read this word for word. There's a guideline though. That's what made I think those wrestlers great. Was they knew just what to say, enough of what to say, and that's it. And it baited you. and you will be like, okay, I need to see next week.
That's true.
You know what I mean? It's just that they need to get back to whatever that was and they had. I wish they can just encapsulate it.
And
you know
goes
what
back
I mean?
to what we said earlier. There's no competition.
And the thing was the competition. There's no competition. Like you said, there's no competition. There's no one out there that's going to make me be like, oh, I want to see this match. I want to see this match. You know what I mean? I remember being like, oh my goodness, the Dudleys and so-and-so are going at it next week. I got to watch it. APA is going at it, with Edge and Christian. Got to watch it.
But on this other show, you have Hulk Hogan versus Sting, and you have Sting versus...
So what, were you a WWE guy, a WCW guy?
I watched it all. You know what I mean?
But I'm saying, when it came on,
let's see.
Well, Nitro came on first.
Yeah, Nitro came on.
Like, would you flip back and forth or
of course, I was a big TV flipper. You know what I mean? Because I needed to know. I just needed to know. You know what I mean? I just couldn't go to sleep and not know, and then everyone knows tomorrow and they ruin it for me. I can't.
Now I'm gonna say this. This was me. I was not a TV flipper. Yeah, I would watch Nitro from 7 to when Raw came on at 7:57. I never forget that. After that, I wasn't missing anything on Raw because at that time you had promos for new guys popping up. Mm-hmm. You had Stone Cold doing anything
the
that he wanted.
Mystery.
But WCW,
who's going to show up?
I was only there for a few guys. Jericho, Eddie Guerrero, Disco Inferno, Disco Inferno reference. And maybe Scott Hall and Wolfpack.
You actually were a Disco Inferno fan?
I was
Disco
still
Inferno
a big
was
Disco
the
Inferno
man,
fan.
bro.
I have the music on my phone right now.
He was the man, dude.
I mean, I guess I'm a Fandango fan, so.
But other than that, it was like you couldn't miss Raw for some reason.
And now it's like, honestly speaking, to all fans out there and everyone listening, how many times in the most recent era have you been like, I can't miss Raw? I'll just DVR it and I'll watch it tomorrow.
This past Monday.
If you said to us this in the 90s, when we had VCRs, we would look at you and be, you're out your goddamn mind. Am I right? Am I right? You would do your homework early. You would get your chores done. You would get everything you need to do so that when it came on, ain't no one gonna tell you shit.
Like I remember I was grounded and I cried because I could not watch Raw.
Thank you. Have you done that now?
I catch snip-nips on YouTube, but they put it on YouTube.
But that alone is the answer to the question.
Yeah.
Where's the competition? Where are the scripts? And give wrestling fans what they want. That's it. And you did that for so many years, and that's why you were at the top of your game. But now you're competing with bigger markets such as the UFC, such as boxing. Why?
Is boxing a competitor?
Boxing is still a competitor because, there's a lot of good fighters now. But I'm just saying.
I know UFC's
but are they money fighters, though?
Yeah, there's a lot of good money fighters now. You know what I mean? Like, if you're a hardcore boxing fan, you know who they are. Mm-hmm. Now, if you got the casual boxing fan that just watches all big fights, well, I don't know who that is. Just like wrestling. I don't know who that is. They shouldn't be, I don't know who this is anymore. In the 90s, there was no, I don't know who this is. You know who everybody was, whether you liked them, you hated them, you all had emotion. Each person you had an emotion to. I love this person. I hate this person. There's not like that no more. Now it's just like, I don't care. It's like, who's on? Who? What do they do?
I guess if you don't have the passion, then you don't give a shit.
And I think that's another thing that you just touched on. There's no passion there. Mm-hmm. Where is the passion? Where, I understand that, some of these people just doing it for checks. Some of these people like, oh my God, I made it to the big leagues. I'm done. This is it. Go out and get it. And that's what made us go wild.
But it's not, it can't be that way anymore.
It has to be, because if it doesn't go back to what it was, you're going to lose a casual fan. But ones that stick with you, like you said, are the ones that are here all the time.
You can see it in some of the wrestlers that are very passionate.
They want it, and that's why they rear them in. They're like, no.
And that's why I like some of the women's that are wrestling right now. You got Bayley, Sasha, Charlotte, even Nia Jax to a certain extent. Mm-hmm. They're passionate about what they're doing. They're trying to go out there, outperform the men. Like if you don't try to have competition somewhere, then you're going to fall flat on your face. And it's sad when the women try to go out there and be the best, be the main event.
To save the business.
Exactly.
Women's matches will always be restroom breaks. I'm just saying that right now. No, but anyway, that's big things. Big things, God, big things. Big things, big conversations, big opinions here in the Colosseum. I want to thank you guys so much for joining me on our first episode of the Colosseum. My name is Chris.
T Money.
MJ Dub.
Mario.
Till next time, guys. I will see you guys later. Keep watching the ring. Keep listening out, and we'll be here to review it. Peace.